Hello and welcome to a very warm and sunny Highfell, both inside and out. So I'm going to be on my bike later, but before I go, just going to show you how I've made some rather natty little loads for these superb 21-ton weathered coal wagons. So we'll just pull up there, just sizzle away. So very easy. Just using some foam board, some real coal, a little bit of glue, and you can just tailor those to fit in there. But the twist is easy to take out as well using the magnet. So if you saw how I did the uncoupling tool using a magnet on here, there's actually a magnet buried in there. That makes it really easy to both install the load and remove it, so you can simulate a full load of coal on its way to its destination, and when you get there you can unload it. Show you how I did it, dead easy. I'm sure you can work it out, but I like doing the videos. So on we go. To make these coal loads couldn't be easier. You can actually see from the construction we've got a couple of pieces of foam board and we've got some coal, and they've been sprayed with a black paint, and they have inside, they have a magnet. So, foam board, that's what we're going to construct the base out of. You will need some coal. You can buy this actually as a modelling product, or you can just get a piece of coal and smash it up with a hammer. That will give you very realistic coal because it is real coal. The magnets, if you remember, they're the same ones I used to make the Magic Magnetic Uncoupling Stick, which also turns on my coach lights, and of course now will also remove my wagon loads. So it's becoming quite a useful tool. A few basic things: ruler for measuring, pen for marking out, some black aerosol just to hide the white edges. You can actually buy black foam board as well, so if you have a look, shops like the Works, etc., they sell it. I just have to have white left over, so I'm just going to give it a quick squirt of black paint so it doesn't show through white. And you also need some cling film, and that's really what's going to protect the inside of the wagon when you come to set the coal using something like watered down PVA, or say I'm going to use up this scenic cement before it goes off, because it only has a limited lifespan before it goes off once you've opened the bottle. Right, so we'll measure up and we'll do a coal load. Now I've roughly measured this one. When I've cut it, it's got a few rough edges on. The trick to making these easily removable, of course, is to make sure that it will slide in and out easily. So when these are in, you will notice a little bit undersize, and you won't see it because it creates a shadow, and also with the weathering inside the wagon as well helps hide it all. But it means that when you do apply your magnet, it comes out nice and easily. So just measure up. I would say whilst you're doing it, measure about 0.5 millimetre less than what the inside dimensions of the wagon are, and then transfer that to your piece of card, your foam board, and cut it. So won't bore you with how you do that, I'm sure you can all do that, and we'll come back with some pieces cut. So all I've done is I've cut a couple of pieces of foam board out, and I've made sure that this will just pop in nicely in there, just of course because it's just a piece of foam board. It takes a little bit of a shake to get it out. I've cut a smaller piece which is going to act as a support, and it's also going to basically stick the magnet in place as well. With the magnets, something which I suggest you do is, because I want to always do all of the loads at the same time, so you don't have to keep switching to make sure you've got the right polarity to pick it out, check which side you have. I know which side I have, it's slightly dirtier side on that side. So then when you put your magnet in, you need to make sure it's orientated that way round. To get it in, just cut a little pocket. So just cut a hole in the paper outer side there, mind a little bit of the polystyrene away, and then simply pop the magnet in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put that booster piece on the bottom. That's going to stack the height up nicely on the load as well, so we don't have to use a huge amount of coal. So the next thing to do is just glue that down with a little bit of card glue, and then we're going to give it a quick squirt over with some black spray and then put the coal on. So I've just glued the ceiling piece and the booster. You notice I made that smaller just so it just doesn't interfere with the sides. If you find you need to just trim a little bit off, you can put a little bit of an angle on there as well. So that fits in there nicely. going to just double check that I've got the magnets orientated the right way around, and it comes out cleanly. But that will be perfect. I'll just try the other one. That's spot on. This is 5mm foam board that I'm using. So in other words, 2 sections are going to give you 10mm total. And if you look, that's just nicely under the lip of the wagon. So when you are doing coal loads, if you want them to look fairly realistic, if you look at any pictures from the time, particularly when there was this type of coal wagon in service, coal wouldn't really be coming across the top of the wagon, because it would either just shake away or get blown away. And it dates back from the days when the mines were all privately owned, and the mine owners certainly didn't want any of the locals getting any free coal by going and scavenging by the railway line. Which incidentally, if you've got any old disused railway lines near you and you want to get some coal to make your coal load, you'll probably be surprised, you'll probably find some. So next thing to do is just give this a quick squirt of aerosol, and then we'll come back to doing the coal load. So a quick zap over with the black paint, that's gone off. And then what I'm going to do is line the wagon with a piece of cling film. You don't need much. Just going to pop that in there, and that'll just stop the glue, whichever glue you use, whether it be PVA or just like, I'll just stop it from sticking to the inside of the wagon. Now I've got a spoon here. Remember, you've got a magnet in there, so if you are going to use a metal spoon like I'm using, there's a chance it might just pop up. I'm just going to give that a little tap, and that's just going to level it out. And then the next thing, with a pipette, move my coal out of the way so that if I spill it, I don't get that all covered in glue. A little bit like doing ballast. Just going to drop some in. It's going to run to the edges. That should be enough. You can always add a little bit more if you need to, if you've got a bit of a bald spot somewhere. But what I would do is leave the cling film open like that so the air can get right the way around. Leave it a few hours until that's nice and dry. And then what we'll do is we might just do a little bit of trimming just to make sure that when the cling film's not there, the load comes in and out easily. So we'll come back to that when that's dry. So I've allowed the load to dry fully. I left it in the wagon for the first 12 hours and then took the load out, left it to dry with air being able to get to all the sides. They've been left for another 24 hours, so I know they're thoroughly dry. If you end up with a little bit of extra build-up on the sides, you can just scrape it back with a craft knife, because you know if you go back to the foam board edge that will be a nice fit, because we already tested it. And so now we should have a load that just pops in nice and easily. And the great thing of this is not only do they look really good and you can get a really realistic look with using the proper coal, but also you have a way of unloading your wagons without having to pick the wagon up and shake it. So there you go, really easy tip. I've also marked on the inside of my very useful tool. So that's now an uncoupler, device for turning the lights on the coaches, and also I can use it to take loads out. Really has transformed modelling, being able to get hold of these very small but relatively powerful magnets, and they're so inexpensive and really useful for all sorts of little bits and pieces around the layout. So I hope you've all enjoyed watching that. Give it a go. As always, please like and subscribe, but most of all share, and also if you've got any other ideas, pop them in the comments. If there's anything you are thinking about, how could I go about that, ask, I'll have a look at it, see if I can find a way. And again, always thank you to people who've done very similar things. I suppose now in the hobby, it's all really an amalgamation of what people have done before and are finding new uses for it. So keep safe and happy modelling.